a bit of a turn here away from the Pell issue, because there's been a big announcement today by the Prime Minister in relation to Australia's commitment. This is on that issue of the Strait of Hormuz and the freedom of navigation. Let's have a look.
Behaviour is a threat to Australian interests in the region, particularly our enduring interest in the security of global sea lanes of communication. 15 to 16% of crude oil and 25 to 30% of refined oil destined for Australia transits through the Straits of Hormuz. So it is a potential threat to our economy. Further, Australia strongly supports the global norms and rules concerning freedom of navigation, particularly under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, whether that's in the Middle East or indeed closer to home. We've been working closely with our allies and partners, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom, on this issue, which impacts global security and stability. Together, we support the concept of an international maritime presence in the region that would enable the international community to respond to incidents and threats as they occur, to ensure freedom of navigation and the free flow of commerce. Therefore, the government has decided that it is in Australia's national interests to work with our international partners to contribute to an international maritime security mission known as the International Maritime Security Construct, the IMSC, in the Middle East. This will be an enhancement of our existing and long-standing contribution to counter piracy and counter-terrorism missions in the waters of the Middle East, Africa and South Asia. Our contribution will be limited in scope and it will be time-bound, and it will be part of an international mission separate from any other matters in the region. I will discuss Australia's contribution with other leaders at the G7. However, we intend to contribute ADF planning and operations staff to the headquarters, a Royal Australian Air Force P-8A Poseidon maritime surveillance aircraft, and a Royal Australian Navy frigate in an expansion of its planned existing role in contribution to counter piracy and terrorism operations across the region. Now, this is a modest, meaningful and time-limited contribution that we are seeking to make to this international effort to ensure we maintain free flow of commerce and freedom of navigation, which is essential to our security and to our economy. Because Australia will defend our interests wherever they may be under threat, we will always work closely with our international allies and partners, and we are steadfast as a regional partner. The international environment is very difficult. The global economy is facing rising headwinds, as I've noted before. Rising geopolitical tensions and protectionism is weighing heavily on global confidence and growth. We will work with our partners. We will play our part in shaping a better future for Australia and Australians, as well as in our region and across the world. I'll ask the Minister of Defence to comment.
Well, thank you very much, Prime Minister, and good morning. Australia has an enduring interest in the freedom of navigation and the safe passage of maritime trade through international waters. Indeed, freedom of navigation through the international waters is a fundamental right of all states under international law. Our contribution to freedom of navigation in the Middle East is long-standing. In fact, we've had a near-continuous maritime presence in the Middle East since the 1990s. Our contributions to date have focused on maritime security, counter-piracy, counter-terrorism and also Gulf security and cooperation activities, including, of course, through the Combined Maritime Force. But as part of this new maritime mission, our Defence Force will play a crucial role to ensure that all of these rights are protected. Australia's core interest in this mission is de-escalation. It is all about de-escalating rising tensions in the Gulf. I have spoken to my US and my UK counterparts to inform them that Australia will be participating in this international mission. I've also advised Richard Marles, the Shadow Spokesperson for Defence, who will receive a full briefing from Defence later today. We'll also be talking to like-minded partners globally to reiterate the importance of these international efforts. And can I say that our dedicated men and women of the ADF are highly experienced in operating in the Middle East, as I have the privilege of witnessing firsthand last month. And Australia's contribution will consist of three elements. Firstly, the 6-month deployment of a frigate from January next year. This will be the 68th the 68th deployment of a Royal Australian naval vessel into the Middle East on similar operations. The Royal Australian Air Force is also well placed to contribute to this important new mission. So secondly, a P8 will deploy to provide advanced maritime patrol and also surveillance capability to provide an overwatch role. Thirdly, we will deploy a small team of ADF specialist personnel to the new task force headquarters in the Middle East. Like so many countries, Australia relies on the passage of ships through the Straits of Hormuz for a significant proportion of our oil supply, as the Prime Minister has stated. So in conclusion, the contribution that we have announced today is clearly in Australia's national interest, and Australia is very proud to be working with our allies and our friends to promote the global rules-based order and also the rule of law. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm going to ask the CDF to comment. I mean, this is a matter that's been through NSC on several occasions, and so I'd ask the CDF also to offer some comment.
Thanks, Prime Minister. Our people are very well trained and, as you'll appreciate, experienced in the Middle East region. And I've got great confidence in their teamwork, their leadership and their ability to undertake this mission and to offer a substantive and constructive contribution to the international maritime security construct. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, before we go to questions, I'd ask that we confine questions, particularly with the CDF here, to matters relating to this announcement. And if there are other matters, then we can deal with those briefly. But given the nature of this announcement, I don't intend to go into sort of political issues. Yes.
Prime Minister, just on the IMSC
Yep.
command structure here, presumably this is going to be operational Sentinel model that Donald Trump's been pursuing. Who is going to be in charge? What's the command structure? Who do we answer to? What are the rules of engagement?
I'll ask the CDF to...
It'll be a US-led operation, and we will be a participant in that with a multinational force.
And I need to stress that this is a multinational force. Our involvement here is on the basis of it being a multinational force. I discussed this with Prime Minister Johnson a few weeks ago when we were at the next phase of considering our involvement. And this is a point we've made very clear, both to the United States and the UK, that we are here as part of a multinational effort. Now, it is absolutely the case, as the CDF says, that the United States is pulling this together. But it's also the UK's view that this provides the opportunity, I think, for others to be involved in a multinational engagement.